Alright, well, we're officially doing devlog number 5, I guess. I think it's number 5. Let me actually check. I know I do this quite often where I have to check, but yeah, it's number 5. Okay. So this is an interesting one, as I know I said I was going to show off more of Stage 1 last time, but I'm not. This is a part of Stage 1 still, but it's something different. It's just not it's not like the level. It's not like the beginning of the level. If you want to see that, introducing the Discord server thing, by the way, Discord server link is in the description of this video too, and will be in all of the devlogs going forward. And I will mention it every single time because I am that terrible. But, yeah. In that video, it shows off the beginning of Stage 1 a bit, still needs a lot of work, but this is showing off a component of Stage 1 that I just got done a little bit ago. The boss, Vindictus, which is the headless guy from M1. Now, as you can see, he does not have the boss name that they do in Rise. I will implement that later, just haven't done it yet. Now, the way Vindictus works is he only has 2 moves, right? The jump, which you've already seen, which is a little buggy if you jump during it, so I still need to fix that, of course. But, and then the basic attack, which happens if you're an idiot and stand still for too long. Now, the way the jump is supposed to work is it's supposed to just jump forward, not go to your location. It stops if you're too close to him, which is not intended, like, at all. It's supposed to do that. That's what's supposed to happen. Now, knockback-wise, he takes no knockback from either of Thomas's J moves, but he takes knockback from both of the K moves. His knockback resistance is 6, which is 3 times that of the Bone Hermit. And he's a little buggy there. But whatever. Nothing particularly interesting happens when you beat him. He just goes through the floor. But I'm going to try and do a fight with him for real. The goal for this is to have all of the bosses have intro animations, unlike Rise, where I think Lithitus and Usurper were the only ones who had intros. Which is a little unfair, in all honesty, but whatever. The goal is for all of them to have it. And you really can just do this the whole time, as of now, until I get the jumping fixed. You really can just jump kick him back and forth until he dies. It's very much a work in progress, this boss is. But, you know, everything kind of is. I'll try and get it working for the next devlog, which will show off Stage 1 in its fullness. I don't know if I'm going to do checkpoints this time around. I know they're possible. I know I can do them. They shouldn't be that hard, right? I know it's something I could theoretically do, but I don't really know if I should. I really like the idea of having to go through the level with just what the level gives you. And I don't really like the idea of dying, for this game at least, where it's not going to be as, you know, difficult as the main games. At least I don't think it will be for normal mode. I don't really want checkpoints, as I like the idea of you starting with full health and then only subsisting off of what the level gives you in terms of item pickups. Dying and then going back to the checkpoint with full health versus having a set amount of health for the whole stage. That's more my cup of tea, is the thing. Now, I may break up levels into different sections. That may be a thing where you start off that which is essentially a checkpoint, I guess, where you start off that section with full health, but like for example, the final boss. If the final boss is way more difficult than the rest of the stage, I might do that. But I'm only gonna do that for big, difficult sections. Another solution to that would just be make more levels and make each level shorter. So instead of having every stage in this game be the same length as a Blackmoor 2 level, have each one be half the length, a third the length, quarter of the length, and just make more of them. Because this game will not be the size of Blackmoor 2 in terms of main story, at all. Blackmoor 2 had, I think, 12 main story levels. This game will not have that. It'll have 5. I could bump it up to 10, but that would mean splitting each level in half in terms of size to make it more efficient, I guess. Maybe even less than a half, because it'd still be more work because I'd have to draw more background. So it'd be more work that way than just making 5 longer levels. But then again, the pro of that is more variety, so it's a double-edged sword. Not really sure. 5 normal-sized levels or 10 shorter levels. The advantage of the shorter levels is checkpoints just would not be necessary, and it would be way less punishing. But I'm not adding checkpoints as of now, unless I make an easy mode, which I might. I don't really know yet. But I don't really want to add checkpoints on normal or hard is what I'm saying. Not to be difficult, not to just be overly difficult or anything, but just so you actually like learn the stage instead of just like, you know, going through it like tanking everything once you get to a checkpoint. Because if there's checkpoints, you can just tank through sections of stages till you get to the checkpoint, because not only do you get a health refill, but that entire section of level. If it's not a section of the level that's particularly difficult, you can just, or long, you can just like tank through it until you get to the next checkpoint. The only time you can't tank through everything, I guess, would be a boss, unless the boss is particularly easy. But, the point is, I don't really like the idea of adding checkpoints, unless it's in an easy mode or something. But that changes the whole context of the game, doesn't it? So, go ahead and say what you guys think about that whole checkpoint thing. I don't personally want to add them. And I probably won't. But what do you guys think about the idea of having 10 shorter levels instead of just having long Blackmoor 2 length levels? Just 10 shorter levels, each with a boss, instead of having levels without a mini-boss. For example, because some levels just won't have mini-bosses, and having 10 levels would mean each level would have a theme, each level would be easier to get out faster if we're doing the same thing we did with Rise, where we release each stage systematically, which I'm going to do that. That's the best way to do it in terms of this, as the idea is getting things out there. I will release Thomas in Stage 1 at the same time publicly. Stage 2 will probably release with the second playable, and so forth until all 5 playables are publicly released. I don't know if Stage 5 will release with the last playable, you know, if there's 5 levels instead of 10. Point is, I don't really know how big I want this game to be. I know how big I want it to be, that's a lie. I know how big I want it to be, but I don't know how I want that to be broken up, is what I'm saying. 10 shorter levels or 5 longer levels. Those are the alternatives. I'm leaning towards 10 shorter levels because I just want this to be a fast game that's funner to speedrun, and it's not very repetitive, because where the game doesn't really have a very in-depth art style, it'd get repetitive pretty quickly, having to slog through the first stage that long, second stage that long, instead of having 10 separate locations that are just more interesting to explore.